telling small businesses what the government is doing in this area. And so we can't elect fast enough people like Ed Gillespie who will help turn this tide back. And we have, again, so much to be proud of in Commonwealth of Virginia and so much going for us. And when we have elected officers who don't work with us, it is a tremendous tragedy and a great loss. And we look every day at what we're trying while we don't have people like this. So I just want to say I'm so proud to have you here. I'm so proud to work hard to make you happy. I know the people standing here are our hardest workers. Nobody will work harder than you will, and I beg you to get ready and start now and don't stop until we get to the very, very, very end. Now, I give you the next United States Senator from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Ed Gillespie.
It's so great to be back in Winchester, and we did have a great convention on Saturday, very unifying, and I have to share a couple things. One, I so appreciated Shaq and Tony and Chuck making a motion to have the nomination come by acclamation. That was a really class act, a very generous and unifying gesture to make, and I so appreciated it. And as I said there on Saturday, we came into that hall through many different doors, but we all left through one Republican door, unified in our principles to win in November. And I'll share one anecdote because Barbara and Jill and everybody knows this, Steve, Todd, Mark, you know, we work those conventions very hard, and I was running up and down the steps of the, Roanoke Convention Center, working delegates, seeking their commitments and their support. And one woman said, I am not going to be for you for the nomination, but I'll be for you if you're the nominee. And I said, that's great, and I'm the same way. Whatever happens, if I'm not the nominee, I'm going to support whoever it is, so I appreciate that. And sure enough, as we were leaving the convention center and I was driving out, I could see across the parking lot, too far for me to stop and all the traffic, but there was that delegate, and she was walking out of the center, and she had an Ed Gillespie yard sign under one arm, and handful of focus in the other hand. And I thought, that's what this is all about. That's what it's all about. So it's great to be talking about, no longer talking about minor differences between Republicans, but major differences between Mark Warner and me, and where we want to take this country and what our policies would be. And one of the reasons that I wanted to come here and why we've been on the road for the past 2 days, and we'll be on the road for the next 3 days, is to talk about our vision for how we can grow our economy, how we can create jobs, raise take-home pay, hold down healthcare costs, bring down energy prices. And our policies based on free markets and free people will do that. And their policies are doing the exact opposite. You know, the Democrats, they want us to believe, when you listen to them, that somehow the negative economic growth, a shrinking of our economy last quarter by 1 full percentage point, or the lowest labor force participation rate in over 35 years, the stagnant wages, the high energy costs, that somehow this is the new normal. You may have heard him say that we have to accept this as the new normal. It's somehow a matter of fate, when in fact we know that's nonsense. The new normal is the old mediocre, and we can do better. And this weak economy is not somehow a matter of fate. It's the result of President Obama's job-killing policies. And Senator Warner, unfortunately, has voted for them down the line. He's voted with President Obama 97% of the time since taking office. 97%. Now, we've been traveling together, Kathy and I, and our daughter Molly. We've been on the road here in I think we're calling this the G-Rig right now. We're not sure what the official name is going to be. That's what I'm calling it. But we've been on the road for a couple of days. Kathy and I celebrated our 27th wedding anniversary last month. And I got to tell you, we don't agree 97% of the time. I don't know how Mark Warner can be with President Obama 97% of the time, but he has, and that's not in the interest of Virginia. And on those votes, you know, the specifics of them, voting for nearly $1 trillion in tax increases and $7 trillion in new debt, and voting against a balanced budget amendment. He supports a carbon tax and cap and trade legislation, which is absolutely devastating in coal country here in Southwest Virginia. And of course, the most important job-killing vote he took was when he cast a deciding vote, didn't just vote for, but helped whip votes for the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. And it would not be law of the land today if he had sided with Virginians and not with his party's leadership. And so we see the differences, and I'll have a completely different approach. I will fight any effort to raise our taxes. I'll not just vote for a balanced budget amendment, I'll introduce one. I will fight any effort to impose a carbon tax or a cap and trade regime on our economy. I will stand up for our coal miners in Virginia and the families and the small businesses that rely on them. And I will fight to get rid of Obamacare and replace it with policies that work. And we can do that. And so when we do those things, we'll foster economic growth. And you'll see we've got a handout here on what we call EG squared, which is Ed Gillespie's agenda for economic growth. If you're for economic growth, you're for Ed Gillespie, because we're going to get jobs going again. We're going to get this country moving again. And it's a 5-point plan that does some common sense things. One is it lifts the drag of Obamacare off of our economy. And we all know, and we've seen people working 28 hours a week instead of a 40-hour work week because of the regulations. Small businesses won't hire above 48 employees. We need to lift the drag of this Obamacare off our economy, and that would unleash job creation. We need to allow for more domestic exploration and development of American energy, including here in Virginia off of our deep sea coast, and that would create jobs. Create jobs and bring down the cost of energy. We need to have tax and regulatory relief. As I talk to small business owners and people in the agriculture sector, the energy sector, this onslaught of excessive regulations is killing small business, choking them, strangling them, and stopping us from being able to expand and to create jobs. And we need tax relief. We've got the highest corporate tax rate in the world that's driving investment overseas. We need education reform is the 4th point, and we need to empower parents over teachers unions in that process. More choice, more competition, absolutely. And then the last thing is, it is time we cut wasteful spending in Washington, D.C., and we balance our budget, and we make sure that government gets into its appropriate size and scope and stops intruding in our lives and in our businesses and smothering our economy. We can do those things, and if we did those things and policies like that, I believe we could double our economic growth rate. And if we doubled our economic growth rate, it would mean 10 million new jobs in our economy. That would mean 3 million of our fellow Americans would be lifted out of poverty.
Back to work.
And that means that's exactly right. The worst thing about their policies is not just that they're killing jobs, it's that they're destroying the American work ethic. And we understand there's not just economic value in labor, there is human dignity in work. And we need more Americans to experience that dignity. And our agenda, our policies would do that. And then when they're working, by the way, and not getting benefits but paying taxes, it would mean our deficit would be reduced by 1/3. And so these are policies that will work. And I want to give the voters of Virginia a clear choice come November. We can keep doing the policies that Mark Warner has voted for with President Obama 97% of the time, or we can have this positive alternative agenda and unleash private sector investment that will grow the middle class, foster upward mobility, and lift people out of poverty. And we can do that. The majority of Americans today no longer believe that we're a nation where the next generation can do better than the generation that came before. That does not have to be our past. That must be our future. And it can be with the right policies. And so that's why I'm running, and I am looking forward to this. We can win this race, and when we win here, it will have an impact not only for our Commonwealth, but for our country. Because not only will Mark Warner become the former senator from Virginia, but Harry Reid will become the former senator from Virginia. I am so excited to be with all of you. I'm so excited to be with my longtime friend, Barbara Comstock. The fact that she and I worked together so many years ago, I won't say how many years ago, and are now on the Stump Together campaigning to make a difference for our country in the United States House of Representatives here in the 10th District in the United States Senate. It's just it shows you the kind of campaign we're going to have. We're going to run as a team. We're going to do the same thing all across Northern Virginia in the 8th and the 11th as well. And we can win this race, but we need your help. We need you. As I said on Saturday, I honestly don't care what door you came into that hall from. We're all in it together, and I want your involvement. I need your help, and I promise you, I will not let you down in this campaign. Thanks for being here today. One last thing I'm going to ask of you is, if you got some time, we've got markers here, and we literally want you to sign on. Sign on to Ed for Senate, and you get to sign on right here. And we'll get you involved, and we will follow up. So thank you all so much for being here. Look forward to visiting with you all individually. Thank you. We're having fun. And we got
Not having fun.
Thanks for coming. Sign an X, make your mark. If you bring me up there. Hey, how you doing?
Let's get a picture of you with that. I don't know if you've had any.
Good, how are you?
I'll be paying
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You gonna sign?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's nice.
Okay. Well done, crew. Sign before there's no space left.
I feel good about this. We gotta
It's the lady in red. I didn't get close enough to see
How you doing? Well, there's that.
I saw you briefly, but I never got his name. Have you signed yet?
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Let me get a picture of us on the board.
What? Come here. We need to make it important.
Send it to Mike.
Winchester. Winchester City. We are recently located
No, actually, it's over here. Hey, thank you. Really appreciate it. Great to see you. Thank you so much. Great night.
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, well, they need the rain. They need the rain. Not me. I'm afraid it's going to look like a jungle when I finally get to it. But that's okay. That's all right. It poured down yesterday.
Shenandoah County got it worst from
Really?
what I saw.
Really?
Yeah, it's like we got 60-mile-an-hour wind.
Yeah, you can't hurt any crops.
That would honestly make their day.
I know it. I don't know when I have stayed out.
I didn't have a...
My great-daughter had her first spot on the side of the dance. She's no way around the left side. I just would have cried on it, but I this goes back and said, you know, oh, so you know the whole thing, yeah. My son's a violinist. He doesn't even choke. That's so glad. You know what you're I think I was going to stop it, Dad.
I can talk.
Did you get
Thanks so much. Good luck, Ed. Thank you again. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
Susan? Probably like you to check out the bus real quick.
These policies and policies like this could double our economic growth rate. That would be if we doubled our growth, if we doubled our economic growth rate, it would be 10 million jobs in our economy. And 3 million people that lived out of jobs. And that would make the government definitely distracted on my shows up. I gotta help give them their majority.
Remember to call Todd tomorrow, okay? For all the kids out. See you later, Dr. Coffee.
Especially, I mean, really, we're from
I grew up in Massachusetts.
no, how do we have
I gotta go.
Don't get it changed.
Do you have a...
Hey, sir.
No, we can't put signs. I have one there.
Remember this day, the victory.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So know that you're on.
All right, thanks. Yep, not a problem. All right, guys. See you. See you, Dave. Hi, Dennis.
Thank you for everything that
Donate, donate.
You too. I know. That is what I enjoy.
Also get other
He is working on it. Yeah, and he said,
help share some
Okay.
expenses. So it doesn't really ride out the side.
oh, I'm like,
Right. This is also for the campaign. Good. Right, and David took advantage of it.
It looks like this is, I was talking to Ann, I've called the candidates and I asked them if they were available. It looks like everybody can make the 20th. Okay, September.
No problem. All right, where is everybody?
So